Previously on Crime Adjacent. So, this was weird. But Chief Al Williams called both reporter Winnie Freeman and me to his office at City Hall. He didn't want to arrest me. He wanted to warn me, both of us. Threaten us, really. If we revealed any information about the tokens, the buttons, we would be the next victims. I didn't take his threat seriously. I mean, not really. I didn't think he'd actually kill us. But then again, would he? At that time, prior to this Saturday night, I did put him up there as a possible suspect in the rest stop killer murders. Right age, right access, right knowledge of the town and the roads. So maybe? It was definitely on my mind during that meeting. Was I sitting right across from the killer? In his office that night, the final night in Ridgewood, both Winnie and I tried to let him know that our journalistic ethics prevented us from saying a word to anyone. He didn't actually believe us. He'd been burned one too many times before in the past. Not by Winnie, I might add, but by the packs of TV and internet reporters who were still camped outside City Hall. They were preparing for live shots for the nightly news as we met inside the chief's office. I took a good look at Chief Williams, up close. Again, this was before I could officially rule him out. That would come soon enough. The man looked tired, exhausted really. He was a detective at the time of the first murders in the 1990s, and I could see how much the murders weighed on him, because it was happening all over again. Gary Pugh was killed on Monday. Margie Miller was abducted and beaten half to death Friday, the same day Michelle Diaz's body was discovered. News crews overran the town. Vigilante posses were forming, just like they did back in the 90s. Ridgewood was coming unglued all over again, and Chief Williams looked like the man caught in the middle of it all. He looked, honestly, like he had been run over, like he cared and was doing his best to deal with these tragedies and bring some peace to Ridgewood once and for all. His strain and stress was palpable. Can you fake that? I wasn't sure. Chief Williams began to drone on about how critical it was to keep the information about the buttons secret. He had said this before, and besides, neither Winnie nor I had any intention of letting the goods slip. So my attention was drawn just beyond Chief Williams as he spoke, to the wall just behind him. There was a cartoon map of Ridgewood on the wall, one of those things that the Chamber of Commerce probably created to highlight fun places for tourists to visit. The quaint downtown, the hiking spots around the Silver Blue Valley Lake, the golf course, the movie complex, that type of thing. It certainly wasn't the time for it, but as I was staring at the map and as Chief Williams began to wave a finger in our faces, I couldn't help but conceal a laugh. It was late and I was getting loopy, I suppose. But I wondered, had anyone at the Chamber of Commerce created another map? Like, here is where one body was dumped. Here is where one man was abducted. I know a few fans of this show would definitely visit those spots. Heck, I once visited the apartment complex where Dexter was filmed in Miami. As the chief droned on, and as Winnie tried to placate him and as I zoned out, thinking about macabre maps and what calls us to seek out these places, something happened. A radio crackle interrupted our meeting at 9:03 p.m., filling the room with static and gasps for air. It was Officer Ralph Disney, who had been charged with protecting Councilwoman Bea Macy. "Chief," he said. Another radio crackle, another radio pause. "Chief, City Councilwoman Macy has been abducted." Chief Williams wasn't the killer. I need to be clear on that. He was here, in his office, with me and Winnie, when Bea Macy was taken that night. But within minutes of that radio signal, we'd all know exactly who the real killer was. Here's the story. But first, hey, special thanks to all the Crime Adjacent listeners who came out to our live show in Memphis on Saturday night. Nikki and I are always delighted to hang out and get a chance to meet everyone. We still have a few more shows in Nashville and then Austin and San Diego before the new year, and we're planning something huge for 2026. Our first world tour. We're hoping to hit Canada, England, Germany, Spain, and Italy. Details to come, so stay tuned. And thanks so much for coming out. And remember, fans around the world, if you're enjoying these stories, please drop a like and review on your favorite podcast app. Honestly, they're always the highlight of my day, and I've been sharing my favorites on Instagram. I'm glad you're here, and I hope to see you on tour soon. From San Francisco, this is Crime Adjacent, the never-ending true crime story told weekly. I'm Chase Patrick. I mentioned this when discussing the abduction and assault of Margie Miller, just how much things have changed when it comes to digital forensics. In the 90s, police relied on witness statements and grocery store receipts to track down victims of the rest stop killer. For instance, police knew when Tommy left his house in 1995 because a neighbor reported seeing his car pulling away at 9 p.m., which was odd enough to remember. Tommy was a homebody. He rarely left after dinner. The next time Tommy appeared in the public record was when his body was found in the valley the next morning. Accounting for exactly what happened to him and when and by whom was based on a patchwork of statements and forensic evidence. But on Saturday, December 16th, 2023, Bea Macy's final moments could be traced to the exact second, thanks to an electronic mesh network of modern-day surveillance. Computer records, cell phone activity, smartwatches, ring cameras, Bluetooth tracing, surveillance cameras, license plate readers, bystanders filming their own TikToks and Instagram reels, panning out to show her movements in the background. Sociologist Roger Clark had a name for this emerging patchwork of surveillance way back in the 1980s. Dataveillance, or the monitoring of our lives through the endless dragnet of data we produce. Bea's routine has been reconstructed from fragments of digital information left behind, those timestamps and sensor logs woven so seamlessly into all of our lives. I'm going to try not to nerd out too much here on this all-encompassing Truman Show dome of digital surveillance and how it seeks not just to see us, but to categorize us. But I can't help it, and it plays a role in this case, so many cases actually. In our current moment, sociologists Marion Fourcade and Patrick Healy have written extensively about so-called digital doubles and how we have our real physical lives and then our digital doppelgangers, those numerical rankings that slot us into categories and control our very outcomes. Our credit scores, our bank accounts, our social media follower accounts, our zip codes and fitness statistics, and website search histories, and purchases and viewing habits. It's all collected and sorted and turned into numbers and rankings. According to Fourcade and Healy, this all adds up and becomes our eigencapital, or our social worth as viewed through digital tracking. These passive records, they argue, become active metrics about who we are. In this world, they argue, metrics become moral injunctions. In other words, all those numbers become not just rankings, but substitutes for our own personal value, or who is deemed worthy and who is not. Have you ever tried to figure out which movie to watch and based your decision on a Rotten Tomatoes score? That's our digital double, a collection of data that ranks us. Is your follower count you? Do you rank others based on their numbers? The surveillance and what we do with it and what we do without it factors into this case. Because what happens when we suddenly drop out of this digital surveillance? When the cameras can't find us, the watches can't track us, the cell phones can't monitor our very conversations. It's almost like we drop off the face of the earth. That happened here and led to a mad scramble across Ridgewood to find City Councilwoman Bea Macy, a scramble that would lead right to the killer's front door. Because at precisely 8:58 p.m. on that Saturday night, Bea Macy fell out of the web of surveillance and right into the hands of the killer.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
In the following months, after everything died down, police were able to meticulously piece together her movements that weekend, compiling everything into an unfiled criminal complaint that was never actually filed because, well, you'll see. Plus, the city council commissioned an independent investigation of its own. I'll get to that in a future episode. Winnie, of course, got her hands on the unfiled criminal complaint and laid out all the details in a series of stories for the Ridgewood Recorder in May 2024. Here's what it said. On Friday afternoon at noon, Bea Macy attended the press conference at City Hall. On Friday night, she got the news about Margie's abduction and assault and immediately headed over to the Miller house. She took Molly to the hospital to see her mother, Margie. According to Bea's cell phone and hospital cameras and her smartwatch and her Ring camera, Bea didn't make it home until 4 a.m. the following morning. This is Saturday now. She slept late, checking the news and turning on her TV at 10 a.m. She made calls, checked more news sites, called the hospital, took a nap, and then returned to the hospital in the afternoon at about 3 p.m. Nothing special, really. An ordinary day for a busy politician and a friend of a recent assault victim. At 5:03 p.m., her Ring camera caught Bea pulling into the driveway, with a police car trailing after her. This was Officer Ralph Disney, in a tow truck trailing not far behind him. At 5:06 p.m., her phone reconnects to the home Wi-Fi. Investigators later saw her device ping the kitchen router, the location narrowing her position to a 20-foot radius. For the next 2 hours, there's nothing but silence. No outgoing calls, no text. Her phone sat idle on the counter. Maybe she took a nap. It had been a long day. There's no way to tell. But at 7:41 p.m., her phone came to life again. She called Molly. They chatted for a few minutes. At 7:50 p.m., the garage door sensor logs recorded an opening. Her car navigation showed she headed to the gym on Cherry Street, not all that far from Tommy's Auto Shop or the Wendy's where Briggs was taken in 1996. At 7:52 p.m., the Ring camera caught Bea leaving the street. Officer Disney followed. So did the tow truck. You could see it. Bea made it to the gym on Cherry Street at 8:03 p.m. Disney reported this in his log. Bea parked in her usual space far from the front door. What was the point of working out to stay in shape only to park in the closest spot, she frequently told people. She routinely parked far from the doors, hoping to get extra steps in. At 8:04 p.m., the gym's surveillance cameras caught her entering. She scanned her member card at the same time. Disney stood watch in the front lobby. He's visible on the camera, checking his phone constantly. Probably for Disneyana auctions, I presumed. The tow truck was never accounted for. It must have parked near Bea's car, out of frame of the surveillance cameras. A popular Ridgewood fitness influencer, well, popular for Ridgewood, later posted his leg routine on TikTok, capturing Bea Macy going through her own leg day routine in the background. Bea told everyone the key to longevity was steps and weights, especially in the legs. It kept her strong and helped her unwind after a long day. She had a thing for fitness and gym culture enthusiast Joey Swole, and indeed checked his Instagram page for tips, according to her phone records. She also, I might add, looked at Detective Jones' Facebook page. They were friends. At 8:55 p.m., she wrapped up. These were her final moments, although no one knew it. She chatted at the counter with Alexia Rodman, the clerk. She waved to the TikTok influencer. Cameras caught her gulping water. At 8:57 p.m., she exited the gym. Officer Disney trailed behind. She walked much faster than him, stretching her neck along the way. At precisely 8:58 p.m., Bea Macy left the camera frame, a grainy image of a short woman slugging water while walking, a towel draped over her shoulder. And then, that's it. She was gone. She never used her car key. She never checked her phone again. Her Apple Watch was found later at the scene. At 8:58 p.m., she walked off camera into the darkness and the fate of what awaited her. For Winnie's story, Chief Williams tried to politely cover for Officer Disney. It was a notable failing, no doubt. Bea was supposed to be guarded, so what happened? The newspaper series quoted Williams saying, "The killer surprised everyone, including Officer Disney. No one saw it coming." What exactly happened in the quiet gym parking lot on Cherry Street between 8:58 p.m. when Bea Macy walked off camera and 9:03 p.m. when Officer Disney radioed to report her abduction? There were no witnesses, no cameras, no digital records at all. What we know comes from Officer Disney's report and a statement by one more victim that night, Len Macy. He told police at the scene, "I didn't see a thing, hear a thing, nothing, just knocked the hell out of me. And when I woke up, she was gone." Officer Disney's report said pretty much the same thing. It was quiet, no one around. He watched as Bea made it to her car, and then he turned to enter his own police car, and then bam! He was knocked out with a stunning blow to the back of the head. He hit the grainy pavement, out cold. When he woke up a few minutes later, groggy and reeling, Bea Macy was gone, and tow truck driver Len Macy was lying on the ground right next to him, groaning. Disney radioed it in. This was 9:03 p.m. precisely. I was with Chief Williams in his office when the radio crackled and announced the abduction. The Ridgewood recorder reprinted the entirety of his radio signals. He said this: "Chief, City Councilwoman Bea Macy has been abducted." A pause. "Her car is here. Wait, her phone. And watch, I need an ambulance and medical attention for Len. He's been knocked out. Ow." A pause. Disney reported later that he felt the back of his head. He was bleeding. The radio transcript continued. It said, "Wait, Chief, what's this?" I remember this part of the transcript very well, like it was yesterday. I was in the chief's office when Disney reported all of this. The chief had risen from his chair. He paused at the door when Disney said, "Wait." The radio crackled. Disney reported this from the parking lot. "Chief, I found... Chief, there's a flag pin near her phone. A lapel pin. It's bloody." Chief Williams locked eyes with Winnie in his office. They didn't say anything, but it was as if they could read each other's minds. A flag pin. There was only one person in Ridgewood who wore those. Next time on Crime Adjacent. As Chief Williams raced out of the office, shouting into the police department radios to send every available car to the gym parking lot and to call in officers for overtime, Winnie rose to follow. I stopped her. I don't know why. There was a loose thought forming on the edge of my brain. The map. Winnie snapped, "What the hell?" I pointed to the cartoon tourist map behind the chief's desk. It didn't provide the clarity Winnie was looking for. She snapped again. "What? I need to get to the gym. Let's go." I urged her to wait. The map. Something about it. The thoughts were still gathering. They were beginning to take shape. Sirens burst the silence. Light bars sprang to life outside, reds and blues bouncing around the night sky like an emergency disco ball. Winnie repeated, "Come on, let's go." That was it. I said, "Winnie, they're all going to where Bea Macy was taken, right?" Winnie nodded. "Yes, and we need to get there, or at least I do. You can stay here if you want." I pointed to the map again. I said, "What if we went to where Bea Macy is right now instead of where she was? Because I know where the killer is taking her." If you enjoy these stories and want immediate access to behind-the-scenes content, sign up for free updates and bonus information at our Patreon page, patreon.com/crimeadjacent. Until next time, this is Chase Patrick from San Francisco with a reminder, stay tuned. You'll never unhear what happens next.